Home buyers were finally showing up. Mortgage rates dipped below 6% for the first time since late 2022. Pending sales were climbing. It was actually starting to look like we might get a normal spring buying and selling season, even with some median home prices starting to slip. And then the world changed. So before we're going to be able to find out what March looks like, let me show you the last clean snapshot we've got. That's February data. What were we working with before the wheels fell off? It's time for the Southern California Housing Market Report. Crunching the numbers, February 2026, all the way back to February 2018. The first slide also has mortgage interest rates. And if you've been watching these or something new, we now have video behind. Thought that would be more exciting. First, looking year over year at the number of new listings, there's a big drop that we're seeing in the number of the homes that are being listed. Now, remember, this is February data. This is before the attack on Iran. This is before gas prices have shot through the roof and before mortgage interest rates have gotten crazy again and before the stock market is getting crazy again. This is February. That's all before that happened. So this is what the year was going to look like. This is how we were going to look going into our spring selling buying season, see whether it was going to be normal. Now the white line, that is the number of pending sales, and closed sales are down year over year. That's not a surprise because we started out in January pretty slow with the number of properties going under contract, but we're up right now. This is a record going all the way back to 2023 for properties under contract. What helped with that? Well, our mortgage interest rates were at a low compared to the past years. We actually were just below 6% in the last week of February. That's gone. So sellers weren't as confident. We're not seeing as many people listing their properties year over year, but buyers were starting to get out there and write offers before the market changed. LA, similar tale, a little flat when we look at the number of pending sales, down in total sales. Again, January and December were slow months. That leads to slower closings into February. And another case where year over year, we have a drop in new listings. So sellers not as confident, hoping maybe interest rates had dropped faster. A drop in new listings here in Riverside, up higher year over year for pending sales. So buyers a little more confident. Similar thing, basically everywhere we're looking, we're seeing the same trend. Down year over year in San Bernardino, up for pending sales, down and sold. You notice in the trend. Ventura, you're always doing your own thing. You are down year over year for new listings, but your pending sales just fell through the floor. And that was with lower interest rates. Remember, that's the lowest we've seen interest rates. Below 6, we hadn't seen that since the end of 2022. San Diego, down for new listings. Up, that's a good increase in pending sales, higher than we've had since 2023, and a pretty strong start to the year. Can't wait to run those March numbers to see what happens to new listings, pending sales. Closed are going to be up because we're seeing an increase in the number of properties under contract right now. Median home price madness, starting with the single family. We're going to compare condos and townhomes. You guys asked me to split that data up, and it is important actually to see it because of the change it makes to the median home price. And we are seeing that month over month, the median home price has gone up as it should. That's what it does this time of year, and it's doing what it's supposed to there. Here's where it's kind of rough, and that is year over year, we're down. So Orange County, that's $1.4 million is the median home price, but that's down 1.4%. LA's down 1.7%. Riverside's down 0.8%. Factor in inflation, and there's definite loss in value for median home price. Nationally, the increase in value in all of 2025 for real estate was 0.6%. Condos and townhomes, splitting those out. And what is going on in Riverside? You're dropping in your median home price. You're not supposed to do that this time of year, Riverside. You need to straighten yourself out. But we can see it's happening in OC and LA. How about year over year? OC down 1.9%. LA, wow, 5.1% drop. Riverside, 4.8% drop. If you've been watching these for a while, you remember when we were seeing year-over-year increases of 10, 15, even 20%. And we said that's not healthy, can't be sustainable, and definitely not sustainable because now we're at negative numbers. That is a big change in value year over year, especially when you factor in inflation. So now we're seeing for single family homes in the other counties some positive numbers. First, we're up month over month for the median home price. Again, that's supposed to be happening. San Bernardino for single family home, you're up almost 1%. Ventura, you're down 2%. Sorry. San Diego is up 3.2% year over year. So that's an increase, although inflation kind of wipes that out. But I'm not going to be negative. That's an increase. So there you go. Better than seeing negative numbers plus inflation. And roping in those condos and townhomes. Hey, Ventura, you're not listening. You're supposed to be going up month over month. You're dropping. Other two are going up month over month for condos and townhomes. Gets interesting for the year over year median home price change. San Bernardino down 3.4, Ventura down 1.9. San Diego, so we saw that increase for single family, but we had a 5.5% decrease for condos and townhomes in median home price year over year. You love them, I love them, we all love them. Altos research reports. Make sure you subscribe. You're crazy if you don't, and you're crazy if you do, actually. So either way, you're crazy because you're still watching this. What I'm going to point out here is, unlike the data we just saw that was only February, this actually includes a week of March. And what's most relevant, I think, in this data is what's going on with inventory for that first week of March. So we're looking here at the national inventory, 7-day average, moving average. And typically, you look at the pips here, that's what these are called, these dots. And this is the time of year where inventory increases. And it's a pretty steady thing. It's consistent and happened. Other than here, we saw it dropped a little bit in March of 2023. But what we're seeing here, a slow start to the year for inventory. And we actually have a drop for the first week of March. So this takes into consideration what's going on in Iran, potentially. And it does look like we have some kind of leading market data showing that inventory is going to drop in March because of the uncertainty. We will need to continue to watch this. It's very, very early and things could change very quickly. And we could have a more typical spring buying, selling season. Even looking at the trajectory of inventory, this is not a typical start to the year nationally. Let's see California and then our respective counties. Looking at the state of California, all the inventory, and it started off a quick snap in inventory starting to go up, and then it leveled off very quickly when we got into March. So we'll have to keep watching this to see what happens. The other thing that we're going to have to keep tracking, we will look at these market segments and see if the days on market starts to go up this time of year because as spring buying, selling season starts. Typically, days on market goes down. OC is a bit of an outlier. Again, that snap and suddenly inventory started to go up, and it actually didn't seem to change. It did go up and continue in its upward trajectory. So it doesn't look like there's an effect on inventory yet in Orange County. What am I going to say next? Let's keep watching. LA, you flattened off. Riverside, not a typical start. You had a drop here when you normally wouldn't last month, but you dropped again. So not a typical start in Riverside. San Bernardino, you leveled off as far as inventory goes. Ventura, yeah, you kind of are going up, but you're a little more shaky, just like we saw in a couple other counties. Like you see these pips here, which is just kind of a straight line. Even back here, it was more of a trajectory upward. As we saw when we saw new listings, strange things. And then our final San Diego, you flattened off. Should have been shooting through the sky for inventory like we had here, although there was a drop back then. What was the drop back in 2022? It was the invasion of Russia into Ukraine. It was around this time when that was going on. So we'll see, is the trend going to continue? We're going to get a bunch of inventory like we had back then when mortgage interest rates were skyrocketing, or not? I get it if you own 5, 10, 15 properties. You're an experienced investor. You've been through a few cycles and you don't panic. But the realistic ones don't just wait and see. If this market has you wondering whether it's time to hold, reposition, or make some changes, let's talk. Those are the discussions we have. Link in the description below. One of the only places you're going to get, though, SoCal multifamily data is right here. So make sure you subscribe to this channel. Is there anything 2 units and larger? Same thing. Mortgage interest rates, we are down. We flirted, got below 6%. And the way it affects investors is it changes their cash flow. When less money goes to debt service, that leaves more money left over for cash flow. Same thing that we saw in single family. These don't always have the same trend, but they do now. And that trend is a drop in Orange County inventory, an increase in the number of properties going under contract, and the sales are up. It'll be interesting to see, again, the numbers for March. Now, you are going to notice that this is unique. The number of new listings in Los Angeles, that has increased year over year and is actually above where it was pre-COVID. Why is that? Could it be very strict rent control and landlords saying they need to get out of Los Angeles? Could be. It is very difficult for landlords, and we've seen properties lose tremendous amounts of value due to the strict requirements under the rent stabilization ordinance. You have to continue to track that. Pending sales, very flat, and closed sales actually down. Again, bucking the trend. LA, tough spot to be a landlord, and people are getting out. Looks like, according to new listings. We're down Riverside for new listings. Look at that. We're about half of where we were in 2018, but that looks like an outlier for new listings. And inventory's flat as far as the number of properties going under contract. So despite those lower mortgage interest rates year over year, not seeing it translating into a lot more properties going under contract throughout Southern California. And same thing where new inventory is flat and pending sales are flat. Look at the drop in closed sales. It's just tough out there to make things pencil. Ventura, again, you're always doing your own thing. Look at that big spike in 2020 in new listings. And basically only 2 properties sold in February. San Diego, down for new listings, just like other counties, and pending sales are down. Not a crazy drop. It's actually more in line with years past. So last year's pending sales were just a higher number, and then closed sales down slightly. There's your multifamily numbers for February before the war. All bets are off. Can't wait to see what March holds. So what does this all mean? Gas prices are up, interest rates back through the roof, the stock market seesawing faster than my blood pressure while I watch the mortgage rates. This is one of the biggest balls of uncertainty we've had in a while. And it landed right on top of a market that looked like it was just starting to find its feet. Buyers were showing up, sellers were starting to budge, and the world changed. Warren Buffett said it best: be greedy when others are fearful, and fearful when others are greedy. Right now, people are fearful. So take a deep breath and pay attention. That doesn't mean make reckless decisions. It means that this is exactly the wrong time to be on autopilot, whether you have a big portfolio or small. So whether it's holding, selling, repositioning, I don't know your situation, but I know this is the moment to figure it out. So let's get together, reach out. I have a link below, and you're not going to want to miss this next video right here.